Everyone has had an experience where they feel like they missed an opportunity, like you're sort of drowning in a sea of what ifs. So it might have been a chance to pursue a hobby or even a job or like a relationship, and you just feel like you blew it, like you completely blew it, and now it consumes your every thought because you're like, oh my gosh, like what if I had done this, what if I had done that. Well, this video is all about forgiveness, growth, and being ready for what comes next. So the first thing to think about is that the next opportunity is going to come. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting with the experience that you learned from the past. Technically, this is your training ground, not like some punishment, like, oh, I didn't get this thing, so like now I have to start over and like, you know, completely redo everything. Like, no, you're starting with the knowledge that you've gained from losing the thing that you've lost. So instead of spiraling in frustration, what you want to do is actually let yourself be disappointed, because sometimes you hear like, oh, like just move on, like it's whatever, like it wasn't meant for you, so like, you know, like just go on to the next thing. But it's okay to feel disappointment. Like, you have to fake positivity and be like, oh, you know, it is what it is, I'm just gonna bury it and be like, oh, whatever, like I don't really care. Because really you do care if you're surrounding yourself in what ifs and like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Make sure you first of all realize like what the opportunity was that you lost, and write it down. Be like, okay, like this is how I feel about it, and these are the emotions that I'm attaching to this thing that I've lost. So for example, like I applied for a job way back when. It was for a pharmaceutical company, and I remember I had a phone interview and the lady had asked me a question and I completely blanked. And then after the interview I was like, oh my gosh, like I absolutely like stuffed that up. And I kind of went on like a little spiral. And then after I got the rejection call being like, hey, like we didn't get the job, I was like, oh, if I had said this, if I had said that. But that didn't even do anything for me. It just made me like feel really bad about myself. It made me feel like I was incompetent, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, you know, I was like, oh, I'm not really the best person for the job, like, oh, it's my fault. And no wonder they didn't give me the job, like it's me. And like I think just focusing on the negative aspects of a rejection or a missed opportunity makes you miss the bigger picture, because whenever things don't go your way, you can always learn. You're allowed to be disappointed, you're allowed to be sad about it, and it's not wrong to feel sad because you did lose something that was important to you. Otherwise you wouldn't feel like it was a loss. For me, I've had to ask myself the question, what closed door am I secretly mourning, or like am I feeling really sad about, but I've kind of told myself like, oh, I don't really care about it. It's important to acknowledge that pain, maybe even write down the things that you're disappointed about and the things that you wish had happened, because it actually helps you to heal a lot better than just pushing it aside and like, you know, throwing it under the rug and acting like it didn't happen. And one thing that I would say is that you shouldn't stay in that for too long. Have like, you know, sort of soaked that up and felt like, okay, like this is something that has happened to me. You need to start looking at the bigger picture, because at the end of the day, like none of us can see the full picture that God has in plan for us, right? We can maybe see little pieces of the puzzle, but it's never like the full picture, and God is the only one that sees that picture. And so sometimes it feels like you've been rejected, but what's actually happening is that you've been redirected, and like God has said, okay, like this path, like you're gonna learn things along this way, but I really want you to go this way. Like in the movies where everyone's looking for the treasure and they're going through all these booby traps to try to get to them, like that's kind of what it is like. Sometimes we are so focused on like the treasure that would come when things work out that we don't really see like all the obstacles and everything that you have to face to get there. And so God sees all of that and he redirects people. So if you think about like people in scripture, like Joseph, he was pretty much rejected by his brothers, but God used that to position him for a purpose. And if you think about even Jesus himself, like he was nailed to a cross, he died, and he used that for our salvation. So sometimes God blocks the very thing that you think you want to give you the thing that he knows that you need. Another thing is that grace doesn't leave the room just because you fumble the bag, right? It sucks because you start to think like, oh, like it's my fault, and like if I had done this differently, if I had done that differently. But the thing is that you need to learn to forgive yourself for missing the moment. Like it sucks, especially being the reason why things didn't work out. You feel like you were at fault, like it was something that was within your control, and then they passed you the ball and you couldn't get the shot. And it sucks, but it's okay, and you have to forgive yourself for missing the moment, because if you don't, you're just gonna keep reliving that moment over and over and over and over again, and it's going to eat at you, and you're just going to feel like you can't move on and you can't live your best life. So it's okay. And the ways to forgive yourself is to tell yourself, like, it's fine. Like, you were scared, you weren't ready, you had the skills that you needed for that, you didn't know how to. And that's the thing sometimes, is that you don't know what you don't know until you get into the situation where it's like, okay, tell me what you know. And you're like, oh, like, I don't know. The thing I want to add to the point of like forgiveness is not just like forgiving yourself, but also forgiving whoever it is that might have caused you to miss out on that opportunity. So like sometimes we get advice from other people and they might tell us like, oh, like do this or don't do that. It might be their fault that you've missed out on an opportunity. So like, for example, if your friend didn't include you in something, you need to forgive that person. Or like if someone overlooked you for a promotion, like it's so much easier to blame someone than it is to blame yourself sometimes. And I think that either way, if you're blaming yourself or if you're blaming someone else, the bitterness doesn't protect you. Like, it's actually poisoning you. If you're bitter with yourself or with someone else, you're allowing room for negative self-talk, for you to feel anxious when the next situation comes up, for feeling like you're inadequate, and for, you know, self-doubting and doubting other people and harboring all these feelings against people, which will actually just make you think and think and think and think and think. And focus on is your next blessing, not on what has blocked your previous one. Like, you can't be bitter from the last no, because then you'll never get a yes, because you'll be so fixated on like this thing that didn't work out, and you're not going to allow yourself room to grow. An opportunity doesn't mean that you failed. It means that now you're equipped to approach things differently next time. And what I like to think is that if something doesn't work out, the first thing you should be thinking after you've grieved the person is, what did I learn? Like, make a list of things that you've learned and be like, okay, if this happens again next time, I will be prepared. So think Home Alone, right? Like, the first time that the burglars came to the house, Kevin was terrified and he went and he hid under his bed. But then he literally went, next time, like this time I'll be ready. And he prepped and he was like, okay, like, what am I going to put into place so that the next time these people come, like, I'm gonna make sure that they don't get me. Take a moment to just list things that you've learned, and it could be like, you know, stuff that you learned emotionally about yourself during that thing, or a skill that you feel like you need to have so that you can get the next opportunity, or even like a spiritual gift that you need to like hone in and stuff like that. It's really important that you get clear on what that is, because if you don't know what you're working on, you're going to pretty much just be exactly where you were when the next opportunity comes. You'll be like, oh, like I had this exact question the last time and I still don't know the answer. It's really important to be able to answer the question, how would I act differently if this same opportunity was going to come around again? Because most times in life, people say like, oh, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but most things come back unless they're like, you know, like you meet some billionaire and they're gonna give you like $1 billion and then you said no. Like, that's probably not gonna happen again. But yeah, most things will come back, maybe not in the same way, but usually it will come back in another opportunity that you can definitely see. Write these things down, because this is what is going to help you to grow as a person and to really develop yourself so that you're ready for the next opportunity. And I want you to remember as well, God doesn't waste missed moments. He uses them to sharpen you and to make you better for the next time. Waiting for the next opportunity to come, like, you need to be intentional about it. So position yourself in a way that you're ready to receive that. If you got rejected from a job, like, be applying for other things and like be ready for an interview. You know, get the skills that you need so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. Make sure that you're praying and that you're in the Word and you're just focusing on God, because you want to be able to hear when he says, okay, this opportunity is for you. And you also want to lean on him to help you to remember the things that you've learned, because there's no point being like, oh, I learned all these things from the last missed opportunity, but then this one, like, I can't remember it. You know, like, it doesn't really, it's not gonna work. Scriptures to lean on in this period of waiting and forgiving and learning are Romans 8:28, Jeremiah 29:11, and also Isaiah 55 verses 8 to 9, because all these scriptures are going to help you to build your confidence in the fact that God is going to help you for your next opportunity. I really want you to put this in practice. Think about it, like, what's in your hands right now, and instead of just rehearsing the past and making it play over in your mind and take up so much mental space, I want you to act. What can you do now to put you in a better position for the next time. Take that course, record the music, learn the thing, you know, heal your heart. Be the person who's ready for when the next opportunity comes up, because God is not trying to withhold anything that is good from you. He's trying to prepare you for the next season of your life. One thing I like to remember as well is that I've missed things too, but God never misses me. You know, regret doesn't have to run your life, and you're still on time for what God has planned, even if things don't go according to your plan. So yeah, write down in the comments what is something that you've missed and that you are going to start learning from, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.